I had just fucked a 19-year-old girl the night before. Age gaps, what do we think about that? Old guys fucking young girls, sometimes for money. Are you ready? Let's go. There are two flavors of age gaps. But first, age gaps are normal because guys like girls who are younger because they're more attractive, aka more fertile. Girls like guys who are more successful, aka guys who have been around longer and have had a chance to actually build up some value in the world. In the US, the average age gap is 2.2 years, with the guys obviously being older. Went up to India with 5.6 years, and then Gambia with 14.5 years, the average age gap. Which brings us to our first flavor of age gap, the trophy wife. The reason why Africa has a higher age gap is because it's just a less developed country, so there's less opportunity for those girls to make some cash. So if you're a girl in like a Western European country where there's a big social security net, and also there's a lot of opportunity for you, there's not a big difference between the wage gap in men and women, then getting an education, having a career versus being a trophy wife is, it's kind of a toss-up, right? But if you're a woman in a country where those opportunities are less pronounced, and there's also an expectation to have a large family, so you're gonna get hounded by your parents about when are you gonna have kids, kids are expensive, then the trophy wife career choice makes more and more and more sense. And the gut reaction to the trophy wife thing is kind of like, I see why you did this, but it's a little, okay. So the first flavor of age gap is the trophy wife, and that might only be like a 5-year age gap difference, but when you see that couple, you're like, I see what's going on here. Now for the second flavor of age gap, let me give you some examples here. George Clooney and his wife, 16-year age gap. Leonardo DiCaprio and his girlfriend, 23 years. Brad Pitt and his girlfriend, 29 years. If your intuition is anything like mine, you see Leonardo DiCaprio together with a really young girl, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's call the second flavor trophy husband, because for all those three guys I just mentioned, girls are lining the fuck up to jump on their cock. So the flavor of the trophy wife situation is a bit, that's kind of transactional. And the flavor of the trophy husband is, Brad Pitt's the man, you're lucky, girl. And the age gap has nothing to do with it. It's really about the sexiness gap. Because girls fuck broke guys all the time because they're sexy, it's normal. But if a girl's sucking the cock of a guy who's not sexy, aka her friends would not fuck him for fun, then she's probably gagging on that cock for cash. And whether it's cash on the bed or it's cash in the form of a wedding ring and a life together of luxury, it's all a bit hoary. And why is the flavor of hoariness kind of, why do we not respect that? We'll talk about that in another video. Age gaps though. Don't think about age gaps, think about sexiness gaps. It makes a lot more sense. Here's a kind of cringy story from my life to drive this home. So last night, 18-year age gap, the girl was there just to have fun. Makes sense for me, doesn't seem weird. But 12 years ago when I was 25, I was getting divorced from my wife because she cheated on me. She got me fired from my job because she stole some shit. And I had one last session with our marriage counselor, just me and the marriage counselor. And she said, well, Brian, you went to a foreign country. I was in Thailand for my last year of college, and you met a young, pretty girl, and sometimes those things just don't work out. And what was the age gap? 3 years. So she was saying age gap, but what she meant was the sexiness gap, because I was a fucking wart of a human being. I really just was fat. I didn't have any assertiveness. I didn't know anything about sex. I didn't know anything about relationships. I just was not sexy. I was not attractive. And she was 3 years younger than me, and by American standards, she was exotic and thin. So there was a big gap in the sexiness. And what changed in the last 12 years is I learned some things about sexuality. You can check out sixstepsquirting.com for my course about how to make any girl squirt. You can wow her in bed. And I worked on myself. I learned about female psychology. I went on a lot of dates with a lot of girls, and I started to figure out, how attraction works. So when you think about your current partner or the girl that you would love to be with, there's a sexiness gap there, and you're thinking about filling that with material possessions, and you're just gonna make more money, and that she's gonna want you. Bear in mind that even if that strategy works out for you, there's still this smell of, okay, she's still a trophy wife. So if you're a guy and there's that sexiness gap between your current partner or the girl that you would love to be with, I would recommend just closing the gap. Not by lowering the standards of your ideal girl, but by getting sexier yourself. And it's harder in the sense that it's a less conventional path where you've got these career trajectories that you can go on. You can make more money, and that's sort of like the accepted thing to do as a dude. But trying to make money and then tie a girl down with that, it's still gonna be a trophy wife. Is that what you really think you're capable of? Is that what you really, the value that you put on yourself? You, me, we're not gonna be Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, but we can close that gap. We can get sexier in the eyes of women. And when you do the work and you become the trophy husband and you're with a girl who is just like overjoyed to be with you, she can't believe that she lucked out, it smells better to you, to the girl, to the people that are in your life looking at you guys as a couple. And also it's gonna be a more stable, peaceful relationship. So if your partner's girlfriends who are equally attractive wouldn't fuck you just for fun, or if the girl that you dream about wouldn't fuck you just for fun, then you, my friend, have a sexiness gap. Put in the work to close that gap, and you're gonna get the girl that you're actually capable of, and you're gonna have a better relationship when you finally get her. Go to sixstepsquirting.com to learn a a little bit about how I close that gap, because sex is a big part of relationships, and if you can wow your girl in bed with just your fingers, you can make her squirt consistently. You don't have to worry about your dick being on or off or not working or something. Then you got that part of your life handled. Pun intended. 6stepsquirting.com. See you there.